Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzuoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net. You know, Steve, when things get expensive and money gets tight, you have to make some hard decisions. A new study found that 51% of Americans have either stopped or reduced their retirement savings in the last 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, doesn't sound good there. And almost 60% say that money is going toward health care. And a surprising 68% say if the stock market hits record highs this year, it will not help their financial health. So if a client tells you that they're thinking about dipping into their retirement accounts to cover expenses for whatever reason, what do you say there?
Yeah, I'm always nervous and leery of that. I mean, I know if things get dire, it is what it is, but it's such an expensive price to pay, especially if you're under 59 and a half, because you got to pay an additional penalty on top of the taxes. So, you know, that's one of the things this administration is trying to push for, is to allow people to take money out of their 401ks to buy a house. And I'm not a big fan of that, Jess. I really think the two items should be separate, and you shouldn't sacrifice your future. Obviously, if you need a house, you need a house. I get that, but that's why I always talk about having different buckets. Look, I'm not a rocket scientist, and Tracy will vow to that, my wife. But I just try to use common sense. You got to have different pockets of money for different reasons. You need to have that emergency money in the bank, and I know it's not going to make much, but it's there for a reason. If an emergency pops up, or if you lose your job for a bit, or you get disabled or whatever, that's what the money's there for. And their future money, obviously retirement, is there for your future, especially if you're young and you're like, well, I got 20 years to go or whatever, okay? That's not the idea. The idea is to just spread the wealth a little bit and not focus on just the glamorous investments long term. Think of the short-term stuff, the boring stuff that's going to help you out in a pinch. And that's really where you need to get focused. And look, if you got to back off the 401k a little bit, that's fine. I'd rather see you back off than to take out of it. But I always get nervous and leery about that because, again, that's your future. And more people don't have pensions, obviously. And that's the case, then you need to lean on these accounts more. And this is interesting. What did you say? 68% said the stock market hits record highs, it won't help?
Well, I guess it depends on how they're positioned in the market as well.
I guess. But most people who have an IRA or a 401k have money invested in market-based assets, usually. So when the market goes up, generally speaking, their account goes up. So, I mean, I hear you, but my thing is just be smart about it. And if you diversify and start now, just do whatever you can. I don't care how much you have a month. Just think of splitting it up into different pieces. It's not so much the amounts, it's where you put them and how you split it up. So that, to me, is my philosophy with that. And if you're having kind of concerns or issues, that's what we're here for. I mean, we've been doing this a long, long time, and I consider myself more of a coach than anything. And I love helping people with these situations. I had someone come in from the radio show a few weeks back, and they were like, well, we've got some debt, a lot of debt and this and that. And I said, all right, let's just tackle a little piece at a time and see what's going on. Now, interestingly enough, they were disciplined enough to save, I think it was $3-something a month into a whole life insurance policy. And they've been doing that for 20 years, something like that, something crazy. And so I'm looking at it, and there's a bunch of cash value in there, like 70-something thousand.
Wow. Good for them.
And I'm like, the answer is sitting right in front of them. Because they were so disciplined and saved the way they did, this is going to help them get over this hurdle of incurring some debt. Now, there was a job loss involved and stuff, that things happen, right? And so they were trying to figure out, how do I get rid of this massive debt and be able to retire, And they were retirement age. So now I have the solution. It's right in front of their eyes. And when we get together again, which will be fairly soon, I'm going to explain to them they can literally, quote unquote, borrow from their own cash value, pay off the bad debt, and literally be their own bank. Because any interest that has to be paid on that is paid to themselves. They're paying it back. It's their money.
So they pay themselves back after borrowing it.
It's their money. So any interest they incur is going right into their bank account. And if there are times and months where they can't pay it, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect it. The policy is going to stay where it is. Obviously, it's going to be lowered by the amount they take out, but it's going to get them out of debt immediately and help them to save more in the near future. So it's an unbelievable option that, and I'm just blown away that their existing advisor didn't even bring this up to them. And it just scares me to say there are people out there who don't even know what they got sometimes. And that's why it reminds me constantly of why I do this. I love to be in that position to give people solutions like that. So I can't wait to see them again, to show them that. And for you folks out there who might be having questions, how do I do this? How do I go about this? We're here for you. That's what we do. Okay, we have a great office. We're here to help, Jess. That's who we are.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you do it the right way. And as you talked about here, being your own bank. If you'd like to sit down with Steve one-on-one, we'll do a little income review and portfolio review for you. And then we'll talk about the opportunities available for you to be your own bank. We'll do it complimentary for you listening today. That's 508-552-3230. 508-552-3230. The website, fairwayfinancial.net. Now, I know part of your process, Steve, when you sit down with anybody, whether they have a plan or they don't have a plan, if they're retired or not retired, you have a process that involves the buckets of money. And I'm talking the 4 buckets here: income bucket, inflation bucket, the emergency fund. You talked about that. And my favorite bucket, everyone's favorite bucket, the fun bucket. And what's really cool about this, guys, is when you go in and you sit down with Steve, I mean, he literally puts like buckets in front of you. It's a visual learning process.
I try to break things down as simply and as logically as I can. And to me, this makes the most sense out of anything I've done over the last 25, 30 years. It's just keeping to this chart, if you will, and saying to people, look, we all know we need income to retire. Okay, I get it. But have you commanded your money to do that job? Or is it just sitting in a pile that might be able to do the job, but you don't know yet? You need to know these things. So I have a bucket that says income, and it's made up of Social Security, IRAs, 401ks, that sort of stuff, and annuities, which are a source of guaranteed lifetime income, which is what everybody wants out of their retirement plan. I had someone come in, very successful, done a great job saving, and he come in, he goes, Steve, goes, I heard your show. He goes, what's up with these buckets? And I said, most people have 401ks and stuff like that, and I get that, but I assign pieces to make sure that the money's going to be there in the future. He goes, yeah, but I don't have a pension. I said, yeah, most people don't have a pension, but you can create one using an annuity that will create a lifetime guaranteed check for you, and if you're married, your spouse. And he's like, really? I go, yeah, let me show you. So I did some numbers, ran some numbers, and he's like, this is unbelievable. He goes, so I could take a piece of my 401k, put it in this plan, and in, what did he say? I think it was 4 or 5 years from now, he's ready to retire. And it's going to give me this income that's on the paper? I go, yeah. He goes, something similar like that, maybe. I go, no. That's an exact number. I go, that's exactly what you're going to get in the future. He goes, well, why doesn't everybody do this? I laughed. I go, well, because everyone doesn't know about them because the 401k administrators don't offer them. So I have to be the one to share the news, and that's why I do my show. That's why I do seminars still after all these years. I'm just trying to get information out there. He goes, well, this is fabulous. He goes, I'm going to definitely talk to some of my coworkers about this because they don't know anything about it. And I'm going to tell you something else. All right, Jess? This is hot off the press.
You're hearing it first, folks.
So I don't know if everybody knows this, but this year is the first year, where if you make over, I think it's 145, 150,000, I believe, that if you contribute the extra amount. So if you're over 50, you can do 80-something hundred, and if you're over 60, you can do 11,250. Any of those amounts have to go into a Roth 401k by law now. So you could do the pre-tax on your regular contributions. But anything over that, you have to do a Roth. Now, here's the catch. If your employer does not offer a Roth 401k option, you're kind of out of luck with that. And by the way, the government is not forcing the employers to have to do that, even though the law says that the client has to do it. So yeah, I know it's really unbelievable. I just found all this out. I did some deep digging this week. So it's kind of weird where the law says you have to do an after-tax amount because the government wants their tax dollars now, obviously.
Of course they do, yes.
And if your employer doesn't offer it, you're stuck. But are you? There are non-qualified plans out there that can act similar to a Roth 401k. Oh, and by the way, these same people aren't eligible to do a Roth IRA because they make too much money. Now, talk about a trap. So here's people who might make very successful, making 300, 400 grand, whatever, and they want to max out their plan. And the government's saying, well, you can, however, the rules have changed. And if your employer doesn't, have that sort of plan, you're making too much to do a regular Roth IRA, so you're kind of out of luck. Well, not really. And that's why I do these shows, and that's why I need to talk to people like me, okay? So there are non-qualified plans that you can kick in, get this, whatever amount you want. There is no limit. You can do 8 grand, you can do 11 grand, you can do 15 grand, you can do 20 grand. Whatever you want to do every year into these plans. I'm just going to tease it with that, Jess. I'm not going to give away all the details, but you need to look into this big time because this could be an unbelievable supplement to your future, and it's just unbelievable. So there you go. That's something that you should need to call the show on too, all right? So I'll throw that tease out there, Jess.
And again, that phone number, 508-552-3230, 508-552-3230. That website, fairwayfinancial.net. Listen, a lot of folks don't know about this, but passwords are something that drive comedian Jim Gaffigan absolutely crazy.
Remember when you used to be able to choose your own password? Because now you have to get approval. And they always kind of give you an attitude like, yeah, that password's not strong enough. That password's very weak. You're like, I don't care, just use it. Nah, I don't accept that password. Pick another one. Hey, dummy, you want us to just give you a password? I've let them pick my password. You ever do that? Their password just looks like they let a cat walk on a keyboard.
Oh, my gosh. He's right about that. And the password thing, I don't know what it is. I can't tell you how many times my in-laws or my own parents call and they don't remember the password. They can't figure out how to reset it. They've clicked something that messed up the password. I mean, it's a whole thing. And, you talk about passwords and technology. I mean, cybersecurity threats are getting worse every single year. And unfortunately, Steve, you have had individuals that have thought they were doing the right thing, maybe protecting their assets or having somebody help them protect things. And in turn, it was actually a scam.
Yeah, it's really terrible what's out there. And it looks so real. That's the tough part. Is that these people are professionals, and they make it look so real. And I did have a client a few years back who lost a significant amount of money to fraud. It was a very sad situation, too, because she was in her 70s. So nobody wants that to happen. It's really bad. So you got to be careful. And, yes, changing passwords is a pain. I get it. Thank God I have Tracy, who monitors, goes all through this stuff. Then she sets up the password list. She sets a password for the password list. And no, I'm not kidding.
Triple prepared, yeah.
It's unbelievable, but it's important.
But also, think about it. I mean, with passwords, you just hit the nail on the head. Tracy, your wife, who works with you in the office there at Fairway Financial, she's got a password for the password list. And It's all about, when you think about that, it's all about protection and making sure that those passwords are protected, much like you want to make sure that your retirement plan is protected.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And I just had a client the other day. We were doing a transfer from a 401k over to one of the plans that I offer. And he's like, oh, my God, he had to go through his password thing. He forgot it. Then he had to click on it, do it. Like, it took about 10 or 15 minutes. And I said to him, you know what? It's better you do that than you get on there, see something, false, don't recognize it, and then next thing you know, your retirement plan's gone. So, unfortunately, it's the world we live in. And I wish our government would spend more time tracking these people down than they do half the other things. But by the way, there's an interesting movie out there called The Beekeeper. You may want to watch it out there. It's not only is it a great action movie with great actors in it, but it's scary. And by the way, it takes place in Boston. It's really good, and you should watch it because it's not far off the truth, unfortunately. So look, you have to be wary of this. All right. And if you need help taking all this stuff and getting it all on paper, we can do that for you. Okay. Tracy is fantastic at that. And we can help you make sure that the passwords are safe, that they're strong enough, which is funny because I've had that happen to me so many times. You know, it's not good enough or this or that, and the other thing. That is funny. But you want to do that. And we're here to help you with that too. It's not just about the investments, the monies, all that stuff. It's about protecting what you have too. So please feel free to reach out to us and we can get that done for you.
Get more details on the website fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzuoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzuoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzuoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzuoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.